Hey there guys, it is Vizonex here to take a look at a special bridge programming language called Cython. You guys seem to really like when I did my PyBricks tutorials and whatnot, so I thought I better teach something that is also pretty obscure and out there, and that is Cython. Now if you don't know what Cython is, it is a bridge between C and C++, and also Python. And using C and C++, you can optimize Python code and vice versa to make your code faster. Now, to get started with using Cython, I recommend you open up a terminal and type in pip install and then Cython. Or if you already have Cython installed, you can say pip install -- upgrade Cython to the current version. So that's pretty handy. Now, we won't be Cythonizing anything today, and instead we will be using the PYX import, which is a little bit easier to understand and work with. So that is what I will be using today. Now, I want to start us off with something simplistic, and that is printing out hello world, which is what many people, who first learn how to program, use hello world. I bet you guys already understand this. So here we go, hello world. So that's great and all, but we want to be able to use this in Cython. So what we do is we make a PYX file. I have one right here called parse, although there's another library I have called parse, so it's just easier for me to handle. And we will be looking into strings. So I think this is pretty important because I don't think there are any tutorials out there that really teach you how to use strings in Cython coding. So I want to tackle that first thing. So I made a function that literally just prints it out. You don't need to worry about this just yet. I will teach you what that is in a moment. But we need to define show, in other words, print. And we are just simply printing out the code in our simplistic function. Now this is pretty important too, that you type in Cython language level 3 as well. But here, I will just go in, and in case I forget anything, I can just do this, Control X. So you've made a file called .pyx. Actually, you know what? Let me just do this, and we can start it from scratch. So let's just call it hello world.pyx or hw.pyx. Here's our pyx file. There we go. So here's our pyx file, and then we need to specify our language level. I'm using Python 3. So what we do is we type in Cython language level underscore level, and then that is equal to 3. It is very important that you have this when you're compiling. So be sure that you have it in commented up here. Alright, now let's move on to printing our stuff. It's very different from printing just a normal function in Python because it is more like written in C. So define show, and then we type in our string variable, or rather what defines the object, which is string. There's that. And then this is the variable name right here. This syntax is very different from Python, because in Python, we would define it as s and string, like this. But instead, we do it the opposite way, sort of like how C is written. So that's pretty good to understand. Alright, now that we've gotten that out of the way, we need to print out our variable. Type in print s, and there we go. And then now we go back here, and we can use our thing. So down below, I have a import function that you need to understand, and that is installing with pyx. Now I have it instead of saying pyx.install, I just say install. I just thought that was easier, better optimized, and whatnot. So here we go. Here is our import of pyx. And now we need to specify our pyx file, which in our case is hw. Now you need to ignore the underline right here, although it shows that this is an error. Just ignore that. So what we need to do now, at this list, this will be demonstrated later. So now what we can do is we can type in hw.show and then hello world. Now we can run this. It's going to compile at the same time, just letting you know right away. So now we do this, and it immediately prints out hello world. And there you go. There's our, actually, there it is. Because of this. Okay. Now let's actually run it. So it will compile it at first, but then after that it will just be there, and you can just immediately access it. This is why I really like to use the pyx import module and not like anything else, although I would recommend that for a bigger project that you do the Cythonize command, but I will talk about that in the future. So now let's get into the final part, which is iteration, which is where Cython comes in handy because iteration is pretty slow in Python. But in Cython, it is increased pretty fast. So now we need to write a for loop. So I'm going to make a function called define show all. And in show all, I'm going to put down it's a list and then s. Unfortunately, you can't just type in like s and then list string. It just doesn't seem to compile. Like I've tried it, it just does not work. And this has been the only good workaround for that. But there is a way you can predefine a character, which, by the way, predefining something in Cython makes it faster. To do that, we type in cdef, and then what we want. So I'm going to say that this is a list of string, ls, and then cdefine, and then string s, which will be our variable that is going to be iterated through. Now we can iterate through the for loop. For s in ls, print s. Then from there, we go back to our setup.py, and we can type in hw.showAll. Let me uncomment out hello world. and then we'll type in hello, which is our list of string. From there, we let the magic begin, and we run it. There we go. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed this starter video for learning Cython. Please be sure to like, share, and subscribe, and share this video with your friends. I know it's been a very long time since I made my last video on this channel, but I promise more content is coming your way very soon. Now, before you start asking me what thing I installed, I recommend you install for Visual Studio Code language Cython, which has a lot of downloads. And although it only has 3 stars, I do rate this thing a good 4.5. You guys should really try this out. It makes your Cython code colorful. Anyways, that is it. I'll see you all in the next one.